The Ultima creator is regaining control of the series from EA. Welcome to Inside Games Daily, the only gaming news show brave enough to actually reach out to the creator of Ultima and get this story. Brian Gard did an amazing job, right, Lawrence?
That's right. We got an Inside Games exclusive for you. Also, gosh, it's been a while since I think anyone's heard the word Ultima. So if you don't know what the heck we're talking about, we also have a nice primer written by the big man himself to let you know what Ultima is all about, why it's a big deal, and why coming back is kind of interesting. So, Brian, tell us all about Ultima.
All right, boys. So, yeah, the creator of Ultima may be getting his franchise back. It sounds like it. So, after decades, Ultima's creator, Richard Garriott, tells Inside Games that he is about to regain control of the pioneering series. I really think that's not underselling it to say Ultima's a pioneering series from EA, and he says he is planning on picking up the mantle again. So very exciting for Ultima fans like myself. Exodus is one of my favorite games ever.
Well, there you go. But before we get into Garriott's plans, let's give you some backstory here. This all started a few days ago after reports surfaced that Electronic Arts filed 2 new trademarks for Ultima.
That, of course, sparked speculation that we may be getting a new Ultima game, which would be great news for fans, considering the franchise hasn't had a mainline release since 1999. And Ultima 9 Ascension was kind of a weird note to leave the series off on if you've ever played it. It's a hell of a game.
Yeah, not great. And while you younger bucks may not have heard of Ultima, but your favorite RPG and CRPG series owes a big debt to the franchise. Ultima dates back to the early 80s. It is one of the most influential RPG series in gaming history. It basically took RPGs from the pen and paper, the D&D days, to PC and consoles. It set the standard for modern JRPGs and CRPGs, and along with wizardry, was a major influence on seminal JRPGs like Dragon Quest. You knew I was going to add it in there, but it really was.
I'll never forget sitting next to my friend, I think it was in 2001, and he was playing Ultima Online, and no joke, I sat next to him for probably 6 hours, and he chopped wood for like 6 hours, and he's like, okay, now I got to run back to the village and make sure I put it in a chest. And I was like, well, what happens if you don't put it in a chest? He's like, well, I lose it all. I lose all the wood that I chopped. And I was like, what? And he's like, that's it. If someone kills me and they take it, it's done. I was like, that's crazy.
Full loot back then. Oh yeah, it was brutal.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, I was playing Ultima Online, and some motherfucker tamed my mule while I was doing it, and that gave them everything in the saddlebags, which was, about 2 hours worth of mining. So I threw a fit, I called the DM, and the DM was like, I don't know what to tell you, bro. That's just how it goes. So I learned a harsh lesson thanks to Ultima Online about the wilds of the internet.
It seems like everybody did. According to Garriott, Ultima 1 created the scrolling tile map for exploring a world. Ultima 2 became the first game shipped to stores in boxes, and he brought the term Avatar into the gaming lexicon with Ultima 4, Quest of the Avatar.
Ultima 4 is a wild game. It's kind of one of the first kind of ImSim open world simulation games. Bananas. Very crazy ambitious. Ultima 4 specifically, and then also 7, yeah. And speaking of ambition and setting the standards, in 97, Garriott made Ultima Online, which was an early MMORPG that was extremely influential.
Yeah, how influential? So Garriott himself coined the term MMORPG to describe the genre. He told me, I have had the great pleasure and honor to be in game development from the literal beginning. He started essentially in late 70s and helped shape standards and improve the state of the art multiple times.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Ultima was one of the pillars of Garriott's company, Origin Systems, which also gave us the well-regarded series Wing Commander.
God, I love Wing Commander. Love seeing that Origin splash screen. A lot of good memories associated with that. In the early 90s, Origin was acquired by EA, and EA doing what it does, shut it down in 2004.
Yeah, Garriott told me that after the closure of Origin, he was deeply saddened and feared it was the end of Ultima. Garriott went on to make another MMORPG, Tabula Rasa, if you remember that, from 2007, as well as other projects. But it's still very clear when I talk to him that Ultima means a lot to him all these years later. I interviewed him at his house in Austin probably 15 years ago. He was busting out teletype paper, like showing me like, early games he designed. Like, the dude is old school as shit. And he has been known in the gaming world for decades as Lord British. And that character, interestingly, nearly always makes an appearance in Ultima games.
Yeah, Gary, it says he keeps a working Apple II in his office so that he can show off his work, even if it's just to himself. Gary had told Brian, every decade or so, I tried to work with EA on a revival of Ultima. They always seemed interested enough to start talking, then abandon talks just as quickly.
Sounds about right, yeah. And that brings us to the present here. After the news surfaced about EA getting new Ultima trademarks, we called Gary to see if he had any thoughts, and he did. He did indeed. What were those, Brian?
Yeah, so I just kind of thought he was going to give me some comment on what that all meant. But then when I asked him, he said that he is actually reclaiming the series copyright back from EA. And you might be wondering, how the hell can he do this? Well, under US copyright law, there's something called the 35-year rule. So that allows creators or their heirs to reclaim the rights to a copyrighted work from publishers 35 years after they were originally assigned.
Yeah, this is awesome. EA acquired Origin in 1992, which means that Garriott can get the copyright to Ultima back next year in 2027. That's super exciting. He told us, and so I have been waiting. Finally, the time has come.
Classic Lord British, huh? So if that's the case, why did EA file the trademarks? You think EA lawyers would know about this? Well, here's where we should discuss the difference between copyright and trademark as they relate to video games.
Yeah, and so I looked up an explanation because this comes up a lot, but according to IP lawyer Gene Hamburg, so a copyright protects the source code of a game, which is considered an original textual work. It also protects the audiovisual elements of a game. That is sometimes referred to as the look and feel of the game.
So a trademark actually protects a video game's brand identity, such as its name, logo, slogan, characters, sounds, other distinctive elements that identify its source rather than the creative work itself. So for example, Gene Hamburg said that a game's title isn't copyrightable, but it can be a trademark.
Okay, interesting. So Gary then confirmed in a follow-up email to us that, quote, the law applies to copyright, not to trademarks, but it sounds like he's figured a way around that. Very ingenious.
Yeah, a little bit of a slight name change. He told us that Lord British's Ultima will regain all the copyrights of my original work. What it will become is the next challenge. And FYI, I reached out to EA for comment on Wednesday. I haven't heard back, but I tried to do my due diligence on this.
They went, Richard who? And then that's not a slight on Richard Garriott, by the way. That's a slight on EA. So as for Garriott's plans for Ultima going forward, we might learn more soon. Garriott told us that he'll be a guest at Dragon Con in September, and he said that, quote, I hope to have more thoughts together about what that will actually mean.
What a fascinating prospect. I guess my mind whirls at the thought of Ultima in a modern context. It was so, I don't want to say easy because it was far from easy, but Ultima was a standard setting game in a lot of ways because there were so many standards to set. Now we're, 30 years on, and there's been so many games, so many great games, and so many brilliant minds that have explored these open reactive worlds. Certainly Bethesda games, I think, is like Elder Scrolls is, I think, what people modernly synonymize with that sort of experience, whereas, yeah, Wizardry and Ultima were those kinds of games in the 80s and 90s. So where does it go from here? Or even Zelda, for that matter. Zelda's still going. But the problem, I think the issue is, if I associate Ultima with ambition, to make an ambitious game would be something like a Crimson Desert, but with an even more reactive functional network of AI and NPCs and stuff. That's kind of where my mind goes. But that game was, a decade in the making. So if Lord British starts now, maybe he can't. I don't think he can do that. Many people can't. It's just not like the economics of producing a AAA work like that are very, very difficult, especially to get a studio off the ground from nothing and then launch a title in 6 years. So I don't know. Maybe it's go the other way. Maybe he can make like a foundational but extremely deep simulated world, something like Caves of Cud or like a mud like that, but with maybe a better tile set, more approachable mechanics. But that would be really, really, really cool to see. Lord British's Ultima coming back as this deep, rich, simulated action RPG world. I really, really hope the best for this, because boy, do I love any experimentation in that genre.
Yeah, the game that also jumps to my mind in terms of recent stuff is Baldur's Gate 3. I don't know, maybe work with Larian. I don't know, that would be awesome. He is, in talking to Garrett, he is very, very proud of his legacy. That's what really comes through when I talk to him, and he should be. He was out in front on, getting RPGs into consoles and PC when they were just pen and paper, and then he was one of the first on MMORPGs. So two of those things he was definitely a pioneer on. I think he's very interested in game preservation, and I think he just kind of wants all his games back too. He said something to the effect of in an email that he wants kind of a through line of all his games stretching from the present all the way back to essentially the beginning or the early days of game development. So I'll be interested in what he does. He's done a bunch of different projects, but it'll be, we will check back in. He told me specifically, you got my number, call and check back in with me. So I will be doing that for you guys. And thanks to our Patreon supporters and all you guys, because this would not have been possible without you guys.
Yeah, this is really, really exciting. And we love to see the actual creator get the rights back from a giant corporation. That's very, very exciting. So all of our best go to Richard Garriott. And it sounds like, I think things would probably be pretty good if we can get away from EA. That's good. So thank you again for watching Inside Games, for watching this exclusive that Brian Garr got us. Brian, way to go. Thank you very much for talking to Richard Garriott.
More to come. I'm gonna get more for you guys. Going forward, I wanna break more stuff. So again, thanks to everybody watching, because y'all made it possible.
Yeah, we have a couple of Patreon supporters that actually helped with this. Donald Tello, Jesse Russo, and Shaky Pants. They support our Patreon every single month. And that allowed Brian to talk more about Dragon Quest.
That's right.
Yeah.